Hello and welcome. This is your GM in the Great Barrier, broadcasting from the center of your entertainment galaxy. We are here today with Star Trek Adventures Aegis, our 22nd century campaign, set in the prequel era of the Enterprise series. We hope that you're having a good time and that you are ready for our current episode, our current adventure, Star Trek Adventures Aegis and the Great Machine, Part 3. When last we left off, the Aegis and the Eponet, an Andorian cruiser, and the former assignment of Lieutenant Shira, had departed the Fomalhaut system and worked to put together the pieces of an ancient star map that they had uncovered over these past weeks. After work with these scientists and a very long quest on a distant moon of Fomalhaut, you have managed to put together the pieces of a star map, an ancient one that also portended not just a map of real space, but certain subspace currents. These point you in the direction of what sounds to be a mythological artifact or some bit of archaeotech, simply referred to by the Fomalhaut natives as the Great Machine. In their past, it seems that some visitor had intervened with the device in order to save them from some cataclysm and move their civilization underground. The limits of what it can do are unknown, but obviously there are Vulcan and Andorian interests at play, wanting to see what they can do with it in order to gain an edge. Even without the geopolitics, this would be one of the most considerable scientific discoveries that you could make. So it has been something you've been pursuing this whole time. Unfortunately, as you've delved into this information further, you have also uncovered what seems to be a message left in the ancient Calamese language, the inhabitants of Fomalhaut. One that suggests a great degree of ambiguity as to the nature of how the device works, what its intentions are, and indeed what your intentions, or what they would expect the intentions to be of those that find the device. On one hand, there could be those that interpret the message as being one of beneficence or good for common purpose. There's perhaps another path that suggests it could be more broadly used as a method of inquiry that treats it as something more akin to a force of nature or tool. Still further is the grim realization that the intention behind this could be one of passing a weapon off to a worthy successor, one that would be able to take their conquest out among the stars. It is, of course, possible that whatever the case that the intention was, this device could be used for all three purposes. It is that decision that you are coming to as you find the device, and particularly as your escort, the Eponet has left you to find it on your own, for they had detected a Vulcan cruiser at some distance, and not wanting to draw attention to you, nor risk your involvement, the commander of the Eponet, Commander Thorlov, has decided to take his craft and approach the Vulcans from a different angle so as to draw them into conflict. You do know there are other Vulcan ships in the area that had survived a battle you found at the start of this adventure, and the race is on for you to figure out exactly what you need to do. The crew is proceeding on this path. You have, besides yourselves, you do have a few Andorian crew members who were beamed on board the ship. But otherwise, the issue is up to everything here is up to you. So that is where we will go up. I would ask, to start with, would there be any scenes that anyone would like to hold as we get things going here? We'll go down the list here. So, Colonel, if you have anything that you want to do expressly, then let me know.
I'll do an orientation with the Andorian security team that came over.
Okay.
Um,
I'll log
Oh,
that
I
on.
want in on that.
Okay, yeah, we
okay,
can
yeah.
definitely put you there, Shira. Also, sorry, give me just one moment. The mic on your end, it seems to be peaking a little bit, so I'm just going to adjust volume on my end here. Maybe check and see if the Discord switched your mics around, because sometimes, like, we were having problems with
Oh,
this.
yeah, that could be it. Give me a second.
While he's doing that, Drone, is there anything that you would like to do as far as scenes go?
Yeah, no, nothing specific. Like I would probably be involved with that scene too, with the Colonel and Lieutenant Shira. Call it a coachable moment.
Let's see, so we'd at least have Sharp and Patel in on that, Shira as well. Speaking of, Craig, do you want any other scenes right now with anyone, just to add to the list?
Not off the top of my head, I can't think of anything.
Okay. And then, let's see here. Ben, is there anything that you would like for Dr. Lambeth, before we get into things?
I haven't got any plans.
Okay, we'll keep on going here then. Brian, is there anything that you would like to do scene-wise to start?
Yeah, I do want to catch the Colonel for a moment privately.
Okay. How about, after the orientation breaks, we can let Romanov catch up with the captain here?
That's fine, that works. That's what I was planning on anyway.
Excellent, excellent. All right, and then last but certainly not least, Felix, anything that you want for Saral to do, scene-wise?
Well, staying away from the Andorians mostly, just not to get stabbed by accident 27 times. Otherwise, no, nothing in particular. I suppose still knee-deep in the analysis of data, but...
Yeah. I suppose, during some of this, you are likely down in the lab still working out, or, well, attempting to work out if there is anything else you can get off the translation that would get things started here. Let's set the stage for this first scene. Would you guys like this in a particular place, in a conference room, or we could have this be a walk and talk scene where you are moving through corridors with the Andorians, because you're all coming from different respective areas?
I think a walk and talk would probably be beneficial, if only to signify that we are not in a sit down and chat moment at the current time.
To set the stage here, you would all find yourselves in a hallway in the primary hall, having come from different directions. For Sharp, it was a trip down the main turbolift from the bridge in order to rendezvous with the rest. Patel and Shira have come up through the ship from the science lab that they were in on one of the lower decks. And all of you had met on, I want to say, I think it's deck 6 where the transporters are located, but I will check myself on that if I am mistaken. Let's see here. Sorry, just finding my Andorian bridge officer tokens. There's one. Alright. The outsides are slightly different colors. We will just, we will deal with that. Okay, let's move this over here. Sorry. Okay, so to set the scene, having rendezvoused at the transporter room, the scene cuts into a shot of the Aegis moving at warp through space, and as it passes by, we cut into the corridor where the camera is looking at 6 of you there. Colonel Sharp, Commander Patel, Lieutenant Shira, walking through the somewhat cramped corridors of the Aegis alongside the 3 Andorians from the detachment. I promise a third one will be in the shot in a moment here. For the rest of well, the one person that you would recognize, or that any of you would recognize at this point, would be Lieutenant Nolsan, whom Shira knows as the new security officer, our new armory officer. Basically, the person who manned your old position, Shira.
Right.
He's moving about fairly businesslike, and with a handful of crates that he and the other Andorians were able to bring aboard. It seems crate would be an exaggeration. It's more cases, which at this point he has explained to you that if need be, he has sufficient armament between plasma rifles and explosives to be of use to you if it becomes necessary to neutralize this archaeotech. So let's pull in there. In any case, Captain, we have enough explosives to create a sufficient isoton blast that, if need be, we can neutralize at least any command or control nerve system, if not the whole device. Suppose we don't understand as much with this, whatever this entity might be. However, I am of the opinion that what we have should be sufficient to that task.
Excellent. We have our own methods and to ensure any sort of decommissioning that would be required. However, my hope is that it wouldn't be it would be a resort that would be the last, if anything. I hope that you can find yourself well suited in this ship for the temporary stay that you have. I know it's a bit more tight-fitting than an Andorian cruiser, but certainly it has a lot of capability to itself.
It also tends to be rather warm, but I'm here to do a job, Captain. If it's all the same to you, I would just prefer to focus on that.
She nods. Any questions or opinions you have regarding the matter? Or anything else?
I would not venture particular opinions at this point, besides the obvious need for us to find the device as quickly as possible, neutralize if necessary, otherwise ensure that it is not a danger. Is there anything that you can tell have you learned more about its possible location or even nature of the device?
We have found the location and the method in which to get access to it. However, the determination of what it exactly is, as she sighs, as clear as it typically is when it comes to archaeotech.
I am hardly an expert in the matter, or in those particular scientific disciplines. So, if you have insights, then a brief summation would be useful.
From the translations we have made so far, it could be something either incredibly wondrous, or it could very well just be a new coffee maker, she says.
It's about as clear as a blizzard.
With implications of how useful it could be in either method.
Well, I certainly hope that this coffee is not so potent a weapon as to pose a major threat to either of us. As he walks on, I will take one moment to note a special thanks to Caligo the Blue, our most honorable engineer from the crew of the Broken Sword, who has spent some quatlus at the start of the game in order to decrease the difficulty of your next roll.
Ah.
Insight check. The Andorians.
Does anyone want to insight check the Andorians?
I will.
Soral does from several decks away.
So we're all monitoring the security feed.
I feel bullshit. No.
Security or command?
I guess that would depend on what you are trying to ascertain from the Andorians.
Impressions, inclinations, their own standing upon this situation. Whether they're trying to, whether this is more of a platitudes until they get closer to the damn thing. If they have ulterior motives, there we go.
I'm going to say that let's call this. I think that's broad enough for you to roll for command here. Patel, Shira, would either of you like to roll, or would you be considering different things about a possible insight roll if you're interested?
I don't think Patel, like, my first thought would be if Patel has any sort of, like, I don't think he has any knowledge of, like, Andorian uniforms or anything to be able to ascertain, like, are all of these really security dudes, or is anybody remotely scientific in this team who might be asking more scientific questions? No, I don't have anything.
Yeah.
Shira won't be. She's they're fellow Andorian officers. Why would she need to assume they have ulterior motives?
Okay. Let's see. So I think that you may roll against them.
Alright. Cautious command.
If you would like to spend the momentum for that, then go right ahead.
You spend momentum to gain momentum, so...
Indeed. I suppose I will just give you a +1 to whatever you wish to roll if you want to take the decreased difficulty now. Otherwise, if you want to... social tasks are a little weird for that particular Quatlu spend, I will admit.
For sure. No, I won't spend it here.
Okay.
But I still would like the insight.
Yep.
Diplomacy for focus? Diplomacy or gambling?
Diplomacy. That would work. Okay, you'll be rolling
That
against
is
them.
3.
And they will have composure as a focus. Okay, so that's
Composure.
2 successes. Nolsan, as near as you can assess, he is very much the he's very much the hardened soldier. Very mission oriented. Yeah. In some ways, he would fit in perfectly as a Mako, though not necessarily on the Franklin's crew per se. He is precisely the sort, Sharp, that you would expect to carry forward any mission within the parameters of his orders and to sacrifice what is needed to accomplish that. While that doesn't tell you much about what exactly those orders might be, if he has anything that contravenes them, you would understand that he is potentially a... it really all depends on what Thorlov had told him to do. If Thorlov has stuck to his personal word of like just having them help you with this, then they would be a potent set of allies. If Nolsan either had orders from Thorlov to do anything else that might run contrary, or if he shows a bit more initiative, then there's the possibility of complications later on. But you don't know. There are some unknowns, essentially.
Fair enough. But that it's nothing personal, just business sort of thing with him.
Exactly.
She will slowly stop, not in a form of reproachment, but more of just a casual sort of express as she says, I would like to remind you, out of character, what was his rank again? Lieutenant? or something
Correct.
else? Okay. I would like to emphasize, though, Lieutenant, that while certainly there are concerns, and while the Vulcan High Command have seen a particular fascination with this discovery, that it does not mean that this potential could be dangerous or disastrous for the sector. This should be, at its highest, a scientific discovery first before a military one. If it does not prove to be a concern for the greater powers or the balance of power as a whole, it should be approached as something that could be further studied, or at the very least open our eyes to more greater facets in this worlds. Hopefully we won't need for my security or yours
Let's see.
in this endeavor.
Sorry, Panda. I had something weird come up. My headset cut out for a moment, and then I got I think I got some sort of notification. I think that something just disconnected for a moment.
No worries.
I don't want you to... I hate to ask you to repeat the whole monologue, but could you repeat at least some of that, or give me the gist?
Simply that while there are certain concerns, and that High Command and that Vulcan High Command seem to have a fascination or obsession with this discovery, that does not mean the discovery itself is a military or cosmic power that could upset the powers that be, and that we should treat this at first as a scientific exploration before a military application. Hopefully it won't. Neither your security nor mine will be needed, despite the tension that is going on.
I understand your concerns. However, we do not, as I do not know fully your background, but as your security officer will appreciate, in the service that I'm in, we don't trade on hope. Or we certainly don't count on it.
She nods.
With that, if there is a area where we can prepare ourselves for whatever mission may be ahead, then you can direct us there. Otherwise, we will I think at this point we would simply remain on standby until such a time as we approach this great machine and find the truth of it, whatever it may be.
Excellent. If you have any questions regarding the scientific discoveries or further data, you may speak to my XO, Commander Patel. She gestures to her commander. And certainly any security questions to my lieutenant, my chief security, Lieutenant Shira.
I'll nod to both. If either of you have any insights with regard to the mission as it approaches, anything that you think could be shared with us, then I would appreciate it right now. Otherwise, I would not see fit to waste any time.
Just a heads up for you three, there are other non-humans on board. I don't expect any trouble between you and anyone on this ship, because I'm sure you'll comport yourself in the best traditions of the Imperial Guard. Just don't make fun of the Orion chef's food. That might cause trouble.
And that you should be aware that there is a Vulcan on board, but he is not part of the High Command nor the military. He is under my contract and my protection.
Well, so long as he has kept as far away from this device as possible, I'm sure there won't be a problem.
I cannot make that promise, only that I expect the full composure and dignity of the Imperial Guard to restrain themselves. She says, looks very directly into the lieutenant's eyes.
Yep. He will reply with simply a dull nod in order to affirm. Well, then, any insights that you can share, Commander?
Patel is very bad at like having a poker face and hiding when he knows something or when he doesn't know something. But he's being very visibly guarded in what he says, and sort of looking back and forth between the colonel and Shira, and just sort of spouts out something like, "No, at this time I have nothing, but I will not hesitate to find you in case any new developments occur."
Very well. That being the case, we should proceed and just do what we can to be ready for whatever lies ahead. With that, Nilsson will give a nod to both of you, and to all three of you, and I guess Shira, if you'd be the one who would want to lead him off, then you can do that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
She will stop Shira, just touch on her arm, and say, while they are protection here and assistance, do keep an eye on security protocols of the ship. Lieutenant.
Yes, of course.
She knows.
All right. So let's see. With all that done out of the way, I guess I remember that Romanov also wanted a word with the colonel, so we can get to that here in a moment. Before Romanov enters the scene, my question would be, first, Patel, do you have anything that you would want to say to the captain, lieutenant, or anyone else in the scene here, or anything?
Not particularly at the moment, no.
Okay. Well, in that case, if there's a particular place you'd like to say you're going, then you are welcome to that. We'll let that kind of close out this part of the scene, and I'll get Romanov in here.
I think we're going to head up to the bridge, because this is definitely a tense moment as we're,
Yep.
Okay.
waiting for things to move.
Yep. Yeah, let me move us over to the turbolift set here, because I know I've got one of those. Yeah. Colonel Sharp, Lieutenant Commander Patel, while Shira is guiding the Andorians to a different spot on the, or to a different part of the ship, maybe near the armory, maybe near some other secured zone, we will say that you've got something figured out for them. They can be in the cargo bay.
We can turn the gym into a temporary ready room for them.
Yep. Wherever they are to unload their ordnance and everything, the two of you make it to the turbolift, and just as you are passing through the doors, we'll say you hear a voice calling out from down the hall. Romanov, if you want to shout after the captain and commander as they are getting into the turbolift.
Yeah, I'll just step into the turbolift with them. That's sort of the perfect place to do this.
Yep.
I had two things I wanted to run by you two.
Make it quick, Mr. Romanov.
I want to do some preparation for possibly dealing with archaeo-alien tech. I'm going to make sure the ship's power systems are ready for any kind of unusual stuff. But in addition to all those precautions, I also want to say that we can eliminate the possibility that this is a weapon, and I'm sure, you two have thought about the possibility of destabilization because of it. If that's the case, you might have to make the decision to destroy it.
I have been informed both by Lieutenant Shira and the new Andorian lieutenant of such measures, on top of Mora, and it seems to be quite the topic as of recent. She says,
Right, just, giving my 2 bits. I know that I've said, yes, this could be something very interesting, but that piece of text can still be interpreted as it's a weapon, and, we all know the implications for that.
I am hoping, much like Shira, that it's simply just a large combine or something of that matter.
Yeah. I'm certainly hoping it's something of scientific and engineering interest. But that was it. I'm just going to prep engineering for dealing with something unusual.
In what manner? What do you wish to modify exactly?
I'm not going to modify anything. I'm just going to make sure our power systems can handle backlashes where we may be connecting with unknown technology. So I don't want the whole ship to blow out. So it's the power systems I'm concerned about.
Well, certainly they are a fundamental part of the ship. I hope that we wouldn't need or require to plug anything in that we're not exactly sure of what it does.
We're connecting to alien archaeotech. It might very well plug into us.
I'm hoping that it stays away from the ship entirely. What's your opinion, Patel? What's your bet on this? On what it could be?
I'm not sure if it's my optimism speaking or not, Colonel, but I don't think that... I'm hoping it's not a weapon, and I don't think it will go in that direction, but I think caution is probably not a bad route to go with.
She nods. So you're also hoping for just a very large combine?
I think everybody's hoping for just a very large combine, but we shall see.
Do what you can. If you need anything that's going to be fun, going to interrupt the power systems at any point, I would like to be informed, or at the very least inform Patel as such.
Oh yeah, of course. You guys would be the first to know. I usually call up when the shit is hitting the rotating blades, right? So, okay.
This will be our second time with a archaeotech. How are you doing, Lieutenant Commander?
I'm doing fine. I'm interested in archaeotech, so from a engineering standpoint, this is something that's always grabbed my attention. So, of course, I'm excited. I'm just also worried at the same time.
I think everyone is. Very well. By this point, the turbo lift would open, right?
Yep, and you would find your way onto the bridge. Guess the question would be, while Patel and Sharp are going to the bridge, Romanov, would you want to take the bridge engineering station or damage control station?
Yeah, I will. And I'll issue orders for people to prepare for possible power events, in case there's any backlash from the alien tech.
Okay.
Make sure the computers are ready as well. Lockdowns for an emergency event to preserve information, stuff like that.
Very good. I apologize for the extra momentary silence. I am having sneezing fits today.
No worries.
Yes.
All right.
But let's move you guys up then. So Romanov, Patel, and Sharp arrive on the bridge, manning stations, as depicted here. Let's see. Okay, as depicted here. As you are all taking your places, Crichton turns to you, Captain. Sirs, I'm picking up some subspace traffic. I believe that the Eponet has been detected by the Vulcans.
She'll nod. How goes it for the two of them?
They're not yet in engagement range, sire, but the Eponet was able to conduct their high-speed warp maneuver to allow them to approach from an alternate angle. Vulcan long-range sensors have detected them now, and they are moving to intercept. I put contact, based on what the previous science officer was telling me before we'd gotten in, Steward had been at the station. Estimated contact time was about 14 minutes, sire.
She nods. Keep me informed. Conley, just play it casual, nice and steady. Crichton, make sure that our beacons are set to declare that we are non-combatants and are simply passing through, as per the regulations of war.
Right, setting our beacons to whistling as we just stroll by.
She smiles and nods.
Once again, Crichton is thinking in Looney Tunes. Yep.
She'll just relax a little bit. She rubs her left eye. As she just watches sensors and all that jazz.
Yep. Connolly looks back and says, Sir, at current cruising speed, I should note, estimated time until we reach the correct zone is going to put us closer to 37 minutes.
Understood. Thank you, Conley.
Okay.
How are we with engines? She's just looking over Romanov.
Engines and everything are good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ship's all ship's shape, man.
Sensors? She looks over to Patel.
He taps away at his keyboard for a few moments and says, sensors are performing nominally. Nothing to report.
She'll just nod. It's the quiet that's always damning. But she just waits.
And time will lapse as what would be in the show a moment where we just cut to a commercial break as the camera
Or
sort of
fly by.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's see. Speaking of, does anybody feel like they need a momentary break, or would people want to continue? I am trying to be better about asking it for, times that people might want a moment in order to pause and reorient themselves or anything of the sort.
I'm good.
All right.
Yep, also
Just
fine.
anxious to get to the get to the finale and figure things out.
Everything's
enough.
fine.
Well, then let's move things down to a warp flyby screen for a moment as Aegis is rapidly approaching its destination. We'll say there's been some interstitial time. If anybody would like to volunteer a scene, then you'll have that opportunity. Otherwise, the sequence of events basically go as you would expect. Respective departments are preparing as best they can. Romanov, for your part, the engineering crews are saying that they are doing what they can to ready or harden the ship's systems in any way. I won't have an express role for that, but I will say that just as a reminder, as the ship's chief engineer, you can create the advantage of an engineering team that can help you with certain roles. I could, I'll have to triple check what the book says on that, but I think that, in essence...
I'd like to do that. I'd like to make a power systems damage control team. Make one for sensors and propulsion.
Yeah. Basically, we'll say that the next repair task you have will have some way that the Advantage can help you out.
That'd be awesome.
Yep.
Won't say no to that. It was purely role play on my part. Like she's, she would be trying to prepare.
Certainly. Yeah. The rest of you, Dr. Lambeth, as you ready sickbay, Shira, as you make sure that all weapons and defensive systems are ready, as you brace for the possibility of any sort of contact while you're out here. A lot of work does fall on Saral and the scientists down in the lab, and a bit on Patel as well. For one of the last bits of information you had actually gave you the configuration of a deflector pulse that you can start emitting once you enter the zone of space. From what you can tell, what I'm going to give you is that it seems as though so long as you set it off within a certain proximity, that it will give you the opportunity to, it should essentially knock on the door. So I think that the way I'm going to treat this is that since you're kind of moving along space in a... You still have a little bit of space to explore. I'm going to say that the zone is... I'm just going to have this kind of go a little bit at random. I'm actually going to have a d20 I am rolling here to determine how the gradient of success that you would need. I think the base difficulty will be at 2, but the... it could max out to 5 depending on what it hits. For some of the Trekno-babble that's going at this time, I think that I will have... we'll set a little bit of the scene up here with back down in the lab. Let me just move things about. Sorry, guys. Where did I put the lab? All right, there it is. And let me just... make a few people invisible down there. Okay. So, at this point, I think that an audio line would be established between the bridge and the science lab as the deflector beam is being prepared. This is mostly concentrated for you, Patel, as instructions come up. And I will, just to help smooth things over, have the GM go through a bit of exposition here. In particular, you're greeted by Fenn's voice, who's explaining. Well, The nature of subspace is such that this pulse will... Look, subspace isn't exactly a hard and fast type of zone, Commander, so as we emit this pulse, it may well trigger what we need from the start, but it could just as easily, if the fabric is not vibrating in precise fashion, we could be further off.
What do you mean by further off?
That is to say that it would not make sense to be in the dead center of the zone, because the harmonics of subspace would vary quite considerably, such that it could mean that the proper entrance is at a further point, but even if we went to that point, if the shifting harmonics of subspace and the flow of currents in the area could well cause the the location of said area to fluctuate. It could be, as you say, a moving target.
This doesn't sound like there's any way that we can counteract that effect or somehow be a little bit more precise.
This is, I guess, what we get when the last part of our ancient subspace map left by ancient aliens to civilizations that had scarcely mastered fire, when they break some of their map. Extended tasks like that are complicated.
So just clarifying for me, I guess we're pretty much just waiting until we can activate the deflector pulse then, right? Like barring any sort of anything else that we could be doing to somehow make it more effective. Right?
That would be the gist of it. Now, I am open, of course, to anything that you would want to pitch, but the general idea that Fen is getting at is, like, and this is in part because we don't have, like, a hard and fast map of this bit of empty space, and that narratively, like, it would be weird to, or it would be difficult to communicate, like, the volume of space and time it would take to search that. Basically, the way
there's no X on the map.
Yeah,
there's no dead center. It is somewhere in that region.
Yep.
So we're just gonna have to poke at it until we find it, pretty much.
Yep. There's a X is more like a mist than an express point.
Then I guess what I would probably try to do is see if there's any way that we can plot out like a I don't know. I'm imagining this is working like a metal detector on the beach kind of a scenario. So, like, plotting out a potential course where we could attempt to do these deflector pulses.
You could definitely plot out what would be a reasonable pattern for that.
Can I assist?
I suppose you could. This would be more of a either science or con discipline-oriented role. And that would be with
science.
That would be, let's see, I think reason plus con or reason plus science would plot out would be used to plot out the course. And I will call that difficulty, tell you what, I will give you up to a difficulty of 3, and what I will allow for that is basically for every success, you can cut down a little bit of the added difficulty that I'm going to have, because, in essence, I am rolling a d20 here. Your task would be at a base difficulty of 2, but for... actually, no. I think it would be... Let's see. Remembering what I have here... Going back over my notes. Okay, yeah. It's a base difficulty of 2 in order to conduct the actual subspace poke, if you will. And for every roll that, as I roll progressively higher numbers, essentially, like if I get a 1 to 5, your difficulty's unaffected. If I get into the 16 to 20 range here, then your difficulty is going to go up, basically for each increment, so it could be between 2 to 5, and...
Okay, well, I'm definitely going to spend 1 momentum at least just to get a 3rd die.
Yep. Okay.
You could also do your determination if you like.
Yeah. Does that refresh me on determination refreshing? Is it per episode or per session?
I have been doing it on a per session basis. Maybe I'll change my mind in season 2. And go ahead there, Felix.
No, please don't. Is the reduced difficulty still on the table, or was it?
Reducing the difficulty, that's essentially what Patel is trying to do right now by trying to plot out...
the Quatloos bend.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that wasn't used yet. So you could reduce the difficulty on this roll down to 2. So The way I was thinking about it is... go ahead.
Good.
I was just going to say, the way that I was going to have this roll happen, basically with 3 successes, for each success you got, that would effectively cut down a bit of the increased difficulty. So even if I max out my roll, you would only be going at a... like, if you scored a maximum number of successes, you would basically null out most of what I would be dealing with. Jeez, I'm sorry, I'm not explaining this terribly well.
I mean, I think it's good enough for me to know, like, okay, so I'm definitely going to spend the 1 momentum, which I saw Sharp already removed it, so that's good. So I have 3 die, probably have an assist from somebody coming in, and if we use the quad loose pen to reduce the difficulty.
Yep.
I'm pretty comfortable with 3 die on that, so...
Okay.
Yeah. So, Sorrel, would you like to assist, or shall I?
Okay, sure.
Okay.
All right, yeah. So, Patel, you score 2 successes on the board. Saral, if you would also like to assist, because you are in on this conference call. That is 1 success, so that is a total of 3 successes here. With the plotting that you have undergone, you can now reduce any added difficulty on this roll to its maximum level. So basically, you think that what you are missing in terms of the map's very precise... like, what you are missing in terms of what the map would have told you, you have, with this relatively small volume of space, plotted out what would be the best sort of prediction you would have for how subspace will behave, and thus a good sense of how to, how and where to admit the subspace pulse in order to create the conditions you need. So, let's see.
Cool.
Yep. With that, as those numbers come in, yeah, you can report that you have that all ready to go. I'm going to put us back on the bridge here as those numbers finally come in. Amidst that, Crichton is also going to call out, "Sir, I believe I'm getting more distant subspace traffic. A second Dakir is joining the current skirmish."
How far?
Based on the signal, the signal strength I'm getting, I project they will intercept the current contest within 1.2 hours, sir. At this point, it is worth noting that as those words are spoken, Lieutenant Shira, you are coming to the bridges, or you would be on the bridge as well by now.
Right, okay.
There you go.
She'll murmur something like, "Kick those bastards' asses."
Maintain course and speed.
So, with that, you proceed for a little ways longer until Connolly says, "Sir, I think I'm approaching the first set of coordinates now."
Drop us out of warp. Half impulse.
Aye, sir. With that, Aegis slows, the stars ceasing to streak as you pass by, and the impulse engines kicking on. You're cruising through this bit of otherwise unremarkable empty space, guided by this long since, this long lost star map of a sorts. Whatever waits you is up to you to find.
She flicks the switch to to communications, signaling it for Saral. Saral, Patel, it's now up to you.
Time to knock on the door.
All right, bringing main deflector online.
All right.
Or deflector modifications, I should say.
Yep. This will be control plus science, assisted by the ship's, I'm going to say, engines and engineering. And because of the plotting, there is no appreciable increase in difficulty.
Okay. I assume Saral is also assisting?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want to spend a bunch of momentum all the time, so I'll just leave it as a default roll.
Fair enough.
Feeling good with all these assists.
I should... well, actually, no. Actually, yeah, you did elect to reduce the difficulty the last time, so I should deal back the others. Okay. Alright. So, we have currently a complication, a success from, and a success from Commander Patel. We have one success from Saral. Would somebody also care to roll for the ship using engines and engineering?
I'll do
Brian?
it then.
Yeah, or somebody.
Yeah, engines and what was it? Engineering?
Correct.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay. Well, that will still be the 2 successes. I do need to ask Patel, with that complication, how would you like to proceed? Your options, as always, are 1, to accept the narrative complication, 2, to ignore the complication and give the GM 2 threat, or 3, to buy off the complication with momentum.
It's 2 to buy it off, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, let's buy it off.
All right.
There you go.
So, the outside shot of the Aegis shows the ship's deflector starting to glow a golden color as the pulse begins to emit. You wait and watch and look over your sensor telemetry. Everything seems to zero out. There's no signs of any initial sort of change.
Patel's not frustrated. He's maybe disappointed, but was sort of expecting this on the first try.
Yeah, well, I guess he'll just turn over to the captain and say, well, I guess I, for one, don't mind the kind of calm seas just to start. As before he can finish his sentence, much as a boat on a calm sea catching a sudden gall of wind, the ship begins to rock violently. All of you begin to shake left and right as the ship suddenly begins to... the visual around you begins to swirl. Lights flicker as the ship begins to experience surges through the EPS conduits. Your engineering teams are monitoring as best as you can, Romanov, but they are just barely keeping ahead of it. Rocking back and forth, your dampeners scarcely have a moment to fully compensate, and with one last sudden heave, all of you are thrown about momentarily, either into consoles or from your chairs, as suddenly you find yourselves in... you find the shaking cease.
What the hell was that?
Report, all hands.
Oh, what can I ascertain about that on sensors?
That'll be a very interesting question. Just before I give you that, however, Crichton is going to stumble back to his feet. He seems to have taken a gash to the side of his head. Ugh. Ow. Sorry, sir. Getting reports now. Oof. Hey, I'm sorry. I've got a, oh dear. Oh, I don't like blood. Oh.
Get to
Focus.
sick bay. Need to
Get
get to
focus
sick
and
bay.
then get a sick bay afterwards.
Could I'm getting a little vertigo too. I think I might have trouble walking, sir. I'm so sorry.
She'll just nod and say, Lieutenant Commander, if you're up enough, could you help Crichton to the sick bay and make your way to engineering?
You implore him on this as he's like busily like looking through new sensor telemetry.
No, I'm talking about Romanov.
Oh.
Romanov.
Yeah, I thought you were talking to somebody else. Sure.
I was gonna say,
but
you could always call medical teams to the bridge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. All right, then redact that. She'll just signal and say, medical teams to the bridge. She'll just get up and start moving her way over toward communications.
What does engineering tell me happened? What does the damage control say?
I actually just whispered that to you in roll 20. So you are getting status updates.
I
The damage report machine has been damaged.
Systems report okay. I'll give to the captain.
Good. Patel, as she gestures for Crichton to step aside and tend to himself.
Checking sensor logs now, Captain. Beep boop.
Yep. And you realize, Patel, that your knock does seem to have done something. For as you are trying to look out and get a fix, and Connolly will indeed verify he cannot. He has no similar. Let's see. Sorry about that. It has indeed done something, and that you can no longer get a fix on exactly where you are.
Oh, this is highly interesting. We see like the camera like focuses on his eyes and it's reflecting like the scrolling reports coming in on his computer monitor.
Are we still in real space, or?
I was about to ask if we can turn on the view screen and just show us what it looks like outside, if we see anything special about that.
Well, as the camera pans out from the Aegis, we see that there are indeed no stars out there, but instead a full symphony, if not miasma, of coloring. Colin says...
From what I can... Oh, go ahead.
No. Colin says, I can't get a fix on anything. Where...
Focus. Conley, do we have engines?
Trying now,
Shira?
sir.
Shira, hull integrity and weapon capabilities?
Are my weapons working?
Yes. And Patel
Weapons
can...
all good, sir.
Patel, please resume. I'm sorry for the interject.
From what I can tell, we are no longer in normal space. It looks like we have entered subspace in a way that I'm not sure was previously thought possible. He turns around and looks at the captain and says, "We're going about this sort of blind, Captain. I'm at a loss to explain what's going on."
No, do your best. Do your best with what you can. Hook up with Sorrel if need be.
I think we opened a door and stepped through.
Possibly a pocket within subspace, which you know.
That was my other theory.
Yep. As you are helping Crichton to maintain some balance, Colonel, the turbolift will open and Lambeth will pop in medical kit at the ready. So, Ben, you also get to join the scene, and you see the visual no longer reflects space as you know it, and that the bridge is otherwise... It's mostly okay, but Crichton seems to be bleeding a little bit from the side of his head.
You called... Oh. Wow.
Doctor,
That's
you
something. He
have a patient.
goes over to... He kind of keeps his eyes set on the view screen while he's going over to Crichton and having a look at him.
I take over for Crichton for a brief moment to try to get damage reports and whatnot.
Yep. The bits of information will come through from stations throughout. It's a little bit of a confusing mess as you just start, and take a moment to sort through comms, but the suggestion is that there are very minor injuries, a few people that were thrown about, but are quickly being treated by other medical teams. The ship is otherwise reporting to be in steady condition. You get another voice in your other ear, or the unoccupied ear, as, let's see, Connolly calls out, Sir, there's, engines are non-responsive, impulse thrusters warp, nothing's working here, and it's really weird. I'm actually getting some kind of, proximity alarm.
How close?
If I'm reading it right, then I kind of doubt that. All around us.
Just a slow nod. All right. Patel, Saral, get to work and tell me what the hell we're just in.
If this is 3D space, I'm leaving.
I'm not putting you up against the Undine.
Yeah, I think Patel and Saral will put their heads together and try to figure out what the fuck's going on. What do the sensors tell us? Like, what's...
Okay.
In what are we? It's not space.
Give me a reason and science roll. I will ask for up to a difficulty... Well, I was going to say difficulty 4, but with your... with the ship's advanced sensor talent, that will be up to a difficulty 3.
Is Sorrel taking the lead on that one? Or am I?
What's the roll again?
Reason plus science.
I do also have my special technical expertise if the ship sensors are being used.
The ship's sensors and science would also assist.
Yeah, so I'd get a reroll on one of those d20s if I'm the primary.
Yeah, then you go ahead.
I only have 3 momentum.
Oh,
Spend it. Get it out.
I'll just spend 1. Yeah.
For the good honorable captain of the Yon there in Twitch, the Quatlu expenditure to affect the difficulty of rolls would be set at 300. So, if you want to spend that, then you just click on the Quatlu icon down there, if you have the points to do it. Let's see. So, while the captain is checking on that, that is 3 from Patel. Let's see. 1 from Saral, so that would be a total of 4 successes on the board. And I suppose I did say that the ship could roll as well. for sensors plus signs. And let's see. I will say that the captain of the Yawn, or from our Broken Sword campaign, airing Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, has increased the difficulty of the rolls, so that will cut out your momentum. You do succeed.
So, war it is then, huh? All right.
Peace was never an option. Oh, but that technical expertise, as Commander Patel notes there, allows a reroll, so you gain back the momentum in spite of it. You are made stronger through hardship and challenge, such as the Klingon way.
May your gach forever be microwaved.
Oh no. He has wished gach pockets upon the captain.
Times fighting words.
That is a graver insult than you realize. Also, the rest of the Broken Sword crew will correspondingly laugh a great laugh in that regard. But
excellent.
In any case,
did we succeed?
You did succeed at the task. Even with the increased difficulty, Patel and Saral's roll together would have met, and then the ship has given you back a point of momentum, which I've already awarded. Your sensors are having difficulty making heads or tails of exactly what you are in. Definitely there's something to the captain's subspace pocket notion. But there does seem... At once, there seems to be signs of matter, and yet not. As if there's something both exists around you, and yet doesn't, in a sense that you would particularly pick out. I will say there is something centered in an area. Let me just get one thing to you here, drone.
Am I looking on Roll20 or Discord?
In Roll20, I am just finishing typing a note here.
Okay.
So,
do we have any way to figure out how we can navigate this? Because apparently wherever we are is not working quite the same as standard space.
Well, I may have found an anchor point on the sensors, if I'm reading this correctly. Reading what looks like some sort of artificial structure. Construction is unknown. Power readings are off the charts. I don't think the ship's sensors even know what to make of these power readings. Seems to be centered on a region dead ahead.
How far?
That information is not in the note.
Distance is kind of weird here, Captain. It could be right on top of us. It could be light years away, for all we know.
Yes. Since we're not in space, Captain, distance does not exist.
I may be able to put it on the view screen if you just give me a moment. And he, on his console, he takes over control of the view screen, and you see it shifting through different color bands and frequencies or whatever. It's like tracking on a VCR.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Let me move you to a forward view here. Stand by just one moment. So, let's see. Ahead of you, there is a deep vein of just a mix of all manner of blues, some vibrant and some deep and black. as you adjust the screen ahead of you, or as you adjust it for the audience as well, the effect. Something's definitely out there, Captain. Jeez, yeah, Connolly's at a loss for words. Just some great glowing object appears out ahead.
She'll just nod, staring at herself. GM, any familiarity for myself?
None whatsoever.
Do I recognize it at all? Probably not.
No, nobody has any idea as to what's going on. But you do have one small boon in this case, in particular, 1,000 quatlus spent by the good captain of the Yon, in order to give you an additional momentum.
Nice. We'll accept this minor forgiveness so far. Keep it going.
What's the soundtrack like on this episode? Like, what's the music swell? Is it ominous? Is it hopeful and bright?
Blaster beam from the motion picture.
Oh, okay. My favorite thing. Awesome. Could go either way.
With a bit of with the possibility of some slightly suspenseful but curious music. We couldn't go full Jerry Goldsmith here.
She'll take her eyes off the view screen briefly. Conley, Romanov, I need engines back. Even as just the smallest of nudges.
Okay, I'm on it. I have to go down to engineering to do that, right?
Potentially, yes. I do have a question. Is there, as Lambeth finishes up patching up Creighton, is there anything else any of you would like to do?
Patel, Soral, I need more readings on this structure. What it's composed of? Is there any atmosphere? Power readings, radiation, anything?
All I'm getting is a massive power reading that like I said, the sensors can't make heads or tails of. And GM, would it be wrong to assume that that's like clouding up any other reading that we get?
Indeed, so the readouts from this thing are just so beyond the pale that you're having difficulty making heads or tails about it.
Any concerns of radiation upon the hull itself due to the severe power levels?
In this sort of subdimension that we exist in currently, I don't even know if radiation is a factor. It would be safe to assume, however, that we shouldn't be standing out there in EVA suits.
She nods. Fair enough. All right, well, can't really move anywhere. Can't really do much of anything until, science teams get to work on figuring out what the hell this damn thing is.
Everybody give me a fitness and medicine roll, please.
Oh, fun.
Oh, no.
Difficulty 2.
Fitness and medicine roll.
Close quarters combat?
Nope. I don't believe any focus is really going to apply here.
Okie dokie. One success.
Okay. Let's see. That is...
Doc should be alright.
Yeah.
Doc will have plenty of medicine, right?
Yeah.
Stanley, if you could give us a roll as well.
Yeah, medicine what? Sorry.
Fitness plus
Fitness.
medicine.
Fitness plus medicine. Okay. Fitness medicine.
Yeah.
There we go. 2 successes.
All right. So, Captain, you are turning to give additional orders. Romanov, you are on your way towards the turbo lift in order to go down to engineering. Zaral, Patel, from your respective places on the at different stations, you are all, and Shira for that matter, all of you are trying to set about tasks as best as you can in order to figure that mystery. But in the midst of that, you feel the sudden sensation of movement. Less so of you than of everything around you. You'd almost think that there was a rush of... it feels like in this moment there ought to be a rush of some sort of wind, or... Indeed, you would expect more the equivalent on this ship, or well, in a setting such as this, to be the sudden loss of atmosphere, so abrupt is the pull. But none of that accompanies what you feel next. Instead, it is but the feeling of acceleration, the sudden lurch of one's stomach as, like, everything gives out around you. In the moments where you are perceiving that, the setting almost, the whole surroundings seem to melt away from you entirely, and you find yourselves suddenly elsewhere. The shift is so disorienting that for you, Patel, you just completely lose your footing and find yourselves face down against what appears to be a hard, smooth surface of some sort. For the rest of you, you are at least you find yourselves struggling a little bit to gain your footing, with the exception of Sharp and Lambeth, who, after feeling like they have been jerked forward, manage to reacquire your footing, or well, rather, you don't lose it entirely. The others are kind of in a stage of being, like, set to be prone, essentially.
Right.
And so, you all appear. The first thing that most of you see around you is stars in an endless field. There is no suggestion in the what is immediately around or above of anything beyond that great cosmos. Indeed, nothing that should hypothetically keep something in, that is to say, atmosphere of any sort. The only thing that would obstruct your vision from stars besides yourselves would be the dais, or the rounded platform you seem to find yourselves on. And that is where we bring you here. And I need to do some quick rolls for the others here real quick, just to see how they do with this. So,
Interesting selection of people. That's everyone with an interest in this.
okay, so fitness plus medicine. I'll have Sloan go. Sorry, just a moment here. Sloane is going to struggle for a moment, losing her footing and essentially taking a knee for a moment, but not going fully prone. The Andorians, I'm just going to say, are broadly, all fall, prone flat on their faces for a moment and are struggling to get up just a little more. For Dr. Natala, I actually rolled the wrong thing for them. They still would not have succeeded those rolls. 217.
Confused their antenna.
Yep. Natala is going to come out of this much less disoriented. And
it's like she's fighting fit and ready to go.
Yep. Fen, on the other hand, is, I don't know, maybe he's still coming down from his trip, or something didn't agree with him, but he just falls to his side. He might lose a bit of his lunch here, off in a corner.
He's pushing up the daisies. He is an ex-parrot.
Oh, no. He's stunned. Yeah. There is a whole cluster of you, pretty much all of the bridge officers, or at least all the player characters, and the other scientists as well. The dais you all find yourselves on, the platform, again, appears to seemingly be exposed completely to the elements, but everything feels warm. It's Earth normal gravity, and temperature at a reasonable level so as to be still comfortable for the humans, but also to the Andorians. Saral might be a little bit on the short end of the stick, but I'm sure he's acclimatized.
It's okay to screw the Vulcans. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I will Sparta kick you off this platform.
Yeah, so...
Zach, I sent you a DM.
Okay. Yeah. With all of this, how would you guys all like to proceed?
She'll look around. Yeah. She'll look around and try to help, move over to help Patel up.
He's dazed, but he gladly accepts the help.
On your feet, Commander. I think we just made a very significant discovery. One of your lifetime.
Are these grey things here pillars?
They are indeed. They appear to come up to just above waist level.
Okay.
They appear to be at the same...
Cheryl will use one to prop herself up.
Do you place your hand on the pillar?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. As you do and rest upon it, you find that there is a hum that suddenly sets about the room. You gaze down at the pillar and you find that there is in fact a gold-colored triangle mounted upon it that your hand is connected with, and that as it lights up, a tone, I would say, a tone that I would call it something of a mid-range in terms of, to the sense, in the extent that you have any sort of very basic musical familiarity, or you've been tested with sound tones before. This one is something that appears in a mid-range of sorts.
I'll instinctively take my hand off it as soon as it starts making noise.
The tone ceases.
While I'm walking, I am testing the gravity. Being a spacer, how does it feel? Gravity and momentum and angle of everything.
The gravity feels, it feels perfectly congruent to anything that you would expect on a on a level surface such as this and what you would expect to... I mean, it's hard to tease out really the difference between a ship and a planet here. The gravity just feels... it feels perfectly acclimated to you.
And it's angled right and everything?
Yep.
Do we have any devices with us? Tricorders, etc.
You have what you carried with you. So I'm sure everybody has a... Everybody has
There'll be a full med kit for Dr. Lambeth.
Exactly. All of you should have tricorders. Shira, I would expect you have a phaser.
The captain will have a phaser too.
Yeah. You may, if you wish, also have like something heavier if you would like. I would call it something with an escalation cost, of course.
Just phase pistol and the Ushantor.
I unzip like one of those like vertical breast pockets on my uniform, and I pull out my little sketchbook and my pen, and because I want to take a quick sketch of this.
I
Patel
pull up the
is
tricorder and
in
start scanning.
I probably don't have a weapon on me unless I was carrying a sidearm. I might have got an engineering tricorder, though.
I would be willing to allow you to have that, and also a phase pistol.
Okay. I mean, she would have been kind of paranoid because this is dealing with this stuff. Now, this place talks about being a compass system, so I'm looking at these. I will check out what Eula has discovered with one of the panels lighting up. And
it makes a tone when I touch it. She'll touch it again.
You've made a significant discovery.
Lieutenant.
Yes?
For the moment, let's not touch anything.
Right. Sorry. Don't poke the unknown artifact.
Don't poke the alien archaeotech. It's kind of one of the first rules.
Okay.
She'll look over to the other lieutenant and say, "How are you and your men? If you can very carefully make way over here."
Nolsan will see to one of his other officers and then step on over. Unfortunately, we were taken or transported whenever we were in the midst of our checks here. I do not have our explosives with us. We do, however, have one partially assembled rifle, which my officer can have in proper working order. If needs be, it can be rigged for explosive purposes.
It hasn't come to that. Let's be mindful of such things for the moment.
What has been done here?
That's a certainly interesting question. Dr. Sloan? Saral? Patel?
Saral is basically ignoring everyone at this point, has the tricorder out, and is like walking around close to the edge of the whole thing while scanning.
Okay. I won't force you to roll here, in part because your tricorder would not be able to... It would be hard to say what the tricorder could give you here. It tells you very little of exactly where you are. You're uncertain as to whether there is... whether there are barriers of any sort. The sensors don't give you a terribly precise fix on any particular location. It's
Do I detect that? I mean, do they tell me anything at all? Do I detect oxygen in the air? Do I detect an atmosphere? Or is it just like there must be when we are alive, but the sensors just don't pick up anything?
There is certainly an atmosphere that you can pick up that is suitable for all life forms present. Something is maintaining gravity, although you cannot discern the nature of the field. Everything that... you can tell that there are biosign readings, that there are people here. You can detect that there are objects, including you can make out that there is a floor and 3 pillars of some composition. All seem to be of what, from your eyes, would look like some sort of smooth marble, although there is a unusual crystalline set of exposed pieces from the 3 pillars. Beyond that, it's extremely difficult to discern anything. There are the power levels that your tricorder is scanning are beyond anything that you can pick up. They seem just as far beyond the ship sensors as they were your tricorder now. Yeah, it's very difficult to discern.
Yeah, tricorder tells very little of actual interest. He uses loudly. And then, I guess, while still scanning, he reaches in his pocket, like fumbles around, picks up like some broken piece of tech, like a screw or something, just rubbish. I basically just flips it off the edge, and I would just try to keep scanning to just see what happens with it.
Your tricorder cannot get a fix on the screw.
At all? Like as soon as it leaves the area, or
You might see it for a moment, but it's hard. It is nigh impossible for the tricorder to detect beyond the range of the platform.
well, tricorder away. Back to using eyeballs.
Should just nod.
Do we have a copy of the text? The very highly ambiguous text.
You do. Go ahead. Just copying this over here for our purposes. I think that I actually put that in a handout already, and I think it should be visible to everyone.
Ah, good.
Yes. As a refresher in the translation analysis, and I will go ahead and make it visible on the screen as well for anybody that is watching. Read in the tapestry of the cosmos, and then there were multiple translations, as with the ambiguity. The quest, path, or campaign to ascension, of which there is also another 3 set under which constitutes enlightenment, domination, or mastery. The path to that entwines the bonds forged in either investigation, compassion, or exploitation. The 3 shall enter in alignment, order, or alliance, mend, bind, or ensnare the lowly, defeated, or injured, and show strength by display, yielding, or force of arms, and only in strength, harmony, or wisdom can they command the greatest machine. The subtext of that being engine, tool, or weapon. We'll put this off to, it would be difficult to put off to the side, so for those in the chat or in the archives, I will leave you to take a look, refer back to this as you need to, but I'm going to remove it from the visual. Our players, of course, have it handy, so you may use it for reference yourselves.
She'll just look at them and look at the 3 dials.
It says 3 shall enter, and there's 3 pillars.
In order or in alignment.
Are the Are the triangle things different on each one then?
Certainly 3 different colors. I have red or orange over here. Saral?
Yes, Ral has proceeded to look at the pillars. This one seems blue. Is there any writing or symbols or any markings of any kind?
None whatsoever. Only the difference in colors and the triangles, oriented in different ways, pointed towards the center.
Let's try something for a moment.
I suppose.
Giving a consideration. Saral, Shira, I want you to both touch the pillar the exact moment I do.
Okay, sir.
1, on 3.
On 3.
1, 2, 3. And I'll put my hand on the dial.
Yep. Press on.
The 3 of you place your hands on the dial. Shira, the dial that, as you place your hand on it, the same mid-tone instantly comes to your mind and is felt ambiently. Saral, you place your hand on the blue dial, and in that instant, a higher pitch tone, one that certainly your ears would be well acclimated to hearing, also plays, and is the sound is viable for all of you. Captain, as you place your hand on the dial before you, there's nothing for a moment, but then a loud sound as if great bells begin to leap out. Far different from the tones that you had detected. The area begins to shake, and pulses of electricity bind you to the tile. You begin to feel that yourself thoroughly hooked in, and the beginnings of an amber-like cover taking about your hands. And I am going to drop 2 threat here as it begins to go from your hand and crawl up your arm. Electricity beginning to pulse around and just thoroughly engulf you, sending into sudden jerking motions.
Wrong one. Hurry up. Find the right combo.
It further engulfs you. It is moving up your arm, beginning to encompass your chest. Do any of you try to do anything in this moment?
I've got a scanner out, and I'm scanning the nearest one. I guess it's probably Saral, right?
Is this happening just to the captain or to
yes,
all 3 of us?
Only to the captain.
Only to the captain. Okay.
Yep. Saral and Shiraz are... Yep. You
Orders.
Figure out the right combination. Or something.
Yep. It continues to progress until your chest has been fully encompassed. It is moving down in equal measure down to your legs and beginning to rise
I'm
up to
going
your chest.
to reach... I'm going to reach back for the tile, if I can, with my covered hand.
The covered hand is presently bound on the tile.
Okay.
You have one hand that is momentarily free, although the amber-like substance has constricted your arms, or at least the one arm, so you have one free arm for the moment. Said?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm also...
Yep. I'm just going to
I guess, is there any way... Is there any way... I mean, you have spent threats, so suppose it's not
Not a good
as it's
thing,
supposed
is
to
it?
happen. But is there any way for the characters to ascertain if is this by design. We have no idea who built this and how they think. So whatever they perceive, yeah, this is a total normal process. Might seem dangerous to us, I mean, it didn't happen to Shira and me by pressing the button. So, going by the rule of majority, it would seem that the captain is what, the wrong person, species.
It's a good question. But
State of mind.
I also had a thought that maybe it's to do with the captain having a weapon on her, but so does Shira, and Shira's not been affected. So,
well,
Can we get the captain away from that, or is it just literally?
I am blocked. I am my feet. Like you can notice my legs and my hand are tugging, but I'm not moving.
Yep. The pulsating electricity. I think that we'll just let the threat spend play out here, unless there is any one thing you want to try and do to intervene with the captain.
Can someone tell the Andorians to get the captain out of there to be useful? Because Soral is about to.
Yeah.
I mean, Soral would probably look to everyone present, and it's just scientists and non-security. So we look to the Andorians. What are you standing around for? Get a captain off there.
No. Nolsan is actually going to rush up. The moment he does, a spark of the electricity that is around the captain is just going to completely, for lack of a better term, warp him to the ground.
Yeah. I was thinking more. I was thinking
yes. Yep, just send him staggering right back, falling right on his back as the pulse begins to take him up, as the pulse knocks him back.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so we need to show that someone is a threat. Worf, get in there and get beaten.
Yeah. The amber has now fully the amber-like substance has fully encompassed your legs, Captain. It is coming from over your neck into your chin. You have moments before this completely encompasses you.
I let go.
You can let go. I will say that if you did that by any sort of quick reaction, that the tones have ceased, but that nothing else has changed for the captain.
Okay.
She just figured out. You got maybe 5 minutes. I hate this part. She says that she just gets covered.
Yep. And the moment it does, and that she is fully subsumed within the amber, it disappears entirely.
Okay.
Oh dear.
With her?
Yes.
Is it just like a blink out of existence, or does it go somewhere?
The likening effect I would give it would be, remember the motion picture? Remember those plasma bolts? Remember when when everything changes color completely?
Yeah, when Ilea disappears.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that. Is that? Can we identify that as a transporter effect? I mean, they're not that common yet, are they?
Skip to the end of that video.
No.
Yeah, not the very end.
So,
it's with trash.
I guess like there's like a heartbeat or two of silence after Captain has just disappeared. So Soral looks to Patel. Well, acting Captain Patel.
This is
Your
the perfect
call.
time for a nervous breakdown. Is my problem?
I have your officer back to breathe in right here.
So, just for my clarity again, when Shira and Soral touched the pillars, like it just emitted a hum, but it did nothing. It only had a reaction, like a negative reaction to
the captain.
And there was a delay, right? When the captain touched the pedal, there was a delay before something happened. While when we touched the pedestal, immediately there was. Is that correct?
Pretty much.
I mean.
Okay, so it took the captain somewhere. We don't know where the captain went. So, do we want to maybe send someone else? It does say 3 shall enter. Maybe the captain was the first one.
It's not a bad point.
I mean, we got 2 different tones, though. If it were a signifier for wrong person touching the pedestal, it would be the same sound, I would assume. Were the sounds positive or negative? Like, you know what I'm meaning? There's like universal perception of hardness, softness, threat, non-threat thing.
Or
But
were the
it wasn't
tones
just...
were the tones like clearly building up to play a chord or something? Like, is that like a da da da?
May I ask you for 1 point of momentum on that, Patel?
Yes.
Since you are all putting questions to the GM, I will treat that as an obtain information, and I will say that, yes, Patel, between Shira's tone and Saral's tone, thinking back on it, it does sound like essentially a low and high note of a chord.
And
Rather, a mid and high note of a chord. Shira's being the mid-level, Saral's being the high level. You would expect something lower, I suppose, in a register where the captain impressed it, but for whatever reason, it was greeted instead with some sort of alert that got rid of her, removed her. You don't know exactly what's happened here. For all you know, the captain may well have been... the captain may well no longer exist.
Okay,
also, because I have Studious, if you make that an obtain information, then we get a free question too.
Indeed. So you may ask another question. If you have one on hand, go ahead. If you want to pass it to the group, then you can also do that too. By all means, everybody talk above board.
I don't have anything concrete that I would ask. Like, it seems pretty not straightforward. Like, it seems very simple, and there's not really very much in the way of clues to give us any sort of indication that I can tell. Besides the colors, but the colors seem to have no bearing on anything.
If it's a harmony on a chord that's playing, then we should assume that there's also an order to it.
The translation does actually mention harmony as one of the things. The second to last line.
In the tapestry of the cosmos, to ascension.
Only in strength / harmony / wisdom can command our greatest machine, engine, tool, weapon.
So,
the three shall enter in alignment could be something. Like, is there some way that we align these things?
Again, if it's a harmony, there should be a starting point.
But we all pressed it at the same time?
Also true.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe we just need to try until we succeed with some person. If we don't with anyone, then it's pointless anyway.
We do have more humans that we can try with that.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to volunteer.
We could also argue that the human has also already failed. So,
or succeeded. I don't know what exactly we're aiming for.
What is what's Sloane's reaction to all this? And I mean, in general, the three scientists besides Tenkai and Finn.
So both of them will certainly show signs of concern. Sloane just looking over the empty space where the captain was and to the object, but she'll stay relatively quiet unless otherwise prompted. Natala, for her part, seems to be rattling through information very quickly. We do know that 3 species were meant to accomplish this, and, well, if they're responding to you, then it should be any 3 species, it stands to reason. There'd be no reason that that humans should be such a problem for this. I don't understand. There's just so many incongruities or unusual... I have nothing to explain the reaction.
Okay, maybe something about the captain.
I mean, the captain is a very complex person.
Yes. I don't think it's.
Saying we are not? Wow, that's a
Well-
low blow. That's a really low blow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
GM in the Great Barrier,
Yeah.
can I make a engineering roll, because I've played around with Archaeotech, and see if I see any patterns maybe they don't?
You may
Considering I've had my whole brain taken over by a alien Archaeotech machinery.
You may attempt an insight and engineering roll, I suppose.
Insight, engineering, and can I apply reverse engineering as a focus? That is what I'm doing here.
I could allow something like that.
Okay, there we go. Do you guys want me to spend a momentum on this?
Oh, please do. Please do.
Spending a momentum on this?
I will say a difficulty of 3 for this task.
Ooh.
You can spend your determination here.
Yeah, I will. I'll spend my determination here, which is every problem has a solution. So
Okay.
that's 2 successes.
We definitely need one of those. Yes.
Well, this is sort of one of her wheelhouses. So, she's always been fascinated by Archaeotech. She ought to really take a focus in it. Okay, here it goes. 3 with 2 determination already.
Oh ho ho.
Holy shit. That is a total of
Plus 2 determination.
6 successes.
Oh, oh. Delicious.
And what I'm looking for is patterns in the system. Her eyes are zipping around, looking at symbology and what they taught, what they looked at. And it's sort of zooming through her mind, and she's trying to identify, how the 3 systems could be working together, how these, possible. And especially in light of this was rumored to be the Starry Compass, right? That they may be trying to turn on some kind of navigational array or something like that. Either way, that's what I'm doing. 6 successes.
Well, with those successes, as they are debating the question, you go back and you try to think about how this machine is apparently supposed to work and what its functions are. Whether any sort of computer, whether any sort of machinery, you understand even at its most advanced, seemingly magical levels,
Right.
Machines require certain principles to function. Every part doing something to contribute to the function of the whole, or otherwise to perform the function itself. It's the case from the most basic Rube Goldberg devices to something as complex as something as complex as a warp drive or whatever this is. The one thing that you know for certain is that when something is not functioning properly, that it will the function will essentially cease, or that
Okay.
essentially if a part were damaged or if a line of code were not working properly, that sometimes sometimes a machine ceases to function. If it's something that is deemed too much of a problem, then an engineer, or if a system were sufficiently automated, perhaps a system itself would potentially quarantine such issues. It might delete them if we're talking in a computer context. In other cases, a diagnostic system might show you that something isn't working. If nothing else, you would pull open a motor and find out where the non-working part is and remove it in favor of something else. If that, with that many successes, I think I can say that would seem to be the principle that is in play. You don't know if, to follow the metaphor and I don't want to go so far as to say the captain is a defective part, but something did not function properly with in this situation. So maybe this is
with my sit. Can I narrow down the factors? I know
The captain had a very colorful life. It could be anything in that thing. The fact that very colorful life could mean that there's something in her life that she stumbled upon that it told her no.
Did this thing cast detect alignment on the captain and that we were not prepared for?
Captain is chaotic evil. Evil cannot pass. You got it. Now I've got to dispose of that whole plot. Panda, just take your character sheet, put it in the word chipper. We're going to come up with a whole new conceit for the character.
Damn. It's unfortunate, but the machine has a maximum wife counter of 1. So
the machine has very strong. Has a very
strong monogamy principles here.
It's a moral starry compass, and it points away from Orion norms.
I mean, by that logic, we take the.
Nobody get a Lotso.
No.
I mean, the next experiment would literally be someone else puts their hand on it, and then immediately tries to take it away.
Okay, I will explain this to everybody that there's some functional link that's not working. It's possibly the captain.
It could just as easily be humans. As in general, you don't have the data to say for certain. I will say that much.
But we're the main characters.
Fine, I'll do it. Lambeth's gonna walk up and put his hand on it and then take it off.
Which one are you putting it on, just for the record?
Oh right, because Shira's moved away from.
Shira's moved away from the deep kind of yellow.
The yellow one, the brass one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
is Shira now touching another one?
She hasn't touched it yet.
No, in which case he's gonna go over and put his hand on the one the captain disappeared.
Oh God, Doc, no.
The doctor places his hand upon the panel. It illuminates slightly, and a low bass tone begins to reverberate throughout the.
Okay.
Progress, potentially.
All right, so I'll go back over to my one.
You were the middle one, right? The middle one?
I was on yellow. I'll press that one again.
Right, he's also going to... I'm going to try a couple of, grab a serum kind of thing, something to slow my, his... body reactions, heart rate kind of thing.
Basically, a mild.
Maybe if this thing has some kind of interaction with his body, maybe he can slow himself down, a sedative kind of.
Yeah, just
thing.
Dose yourself up. Yeah, that.
Yeah, in case something starts happening and he can't get out.
Cool. The doctor's gonna be high. Okay.
You have a dose of anti-anxiety medication.
Yeah.
Well, I can say.
Patel.
Yep.
Shooting up heroin.
You dose yourself with some of Patel's anti-anxiety medication. The tone continues to play out for.
Not yet. I'm going to dose myself if the thing starts crawling up my legs.
I see. You have readied the.
Made a readied action.
Yep. But for your part, for the time that you have your hand on it, there is just the low bass tone. If you choose to remove it again, then the tone stops. There is no electricity, no semblance of an amber-like substance crawling out and engulfing you.
Okay. Well, let's, Saral, let's try this together, I guess.
I mean, the harmony, the middle tone would follow next.
Okay.
Looking at you expectantly.
Cheryl will place her hand on the yellow, goldeny one.
Okay. You place your hand on the pad, and the middle tone once again greets you. The triangle illuminates slightly as you do.
Okay, Sorrel.
You know, this is actually really exciting. Glad I got along here. And I put my hands on it.
All right. And the bluish triangle illuminates as well. You're greeted by by once again the high-pitched tone, the 3 sounding in harmony. And with that, the center of the room gives way to an
donut.
There appears to be a way down. There's no immediate steps, but as you gaze down there, I guess, Patel, you are the nearest one, so if you were to take a look down, there is no signs of any star field or anything of the sort.
Just blackness, pretty much.
Yep. Sloane will come alongside you and take a look. Well, that's the first riddle.
Yeah, maybe don't feel so good about the fact that, I don't know, I feel like we kind of lucked into the solution for this one, which maybe doesn't bode well for our future attempts.
I mean, quite frankly speaking, there was a very limited of actions you could take in this situation.
Correct. Well, we made it through the first one, so that's...
It wasn't so much as a riddle as it seemed
most
to be
of us
some
made
sort
it through the first one.
Well, it wasn't so much a riddle as it seemed to be kind of a test. Just do not know the criteria of that test.
Okay.
Also, if they wanted to kill any one of us, I would assume they had more immediate measures than whatever was what happened to the captain. So I would feel cautiously
The captain
that
just
still around.
disappeared, right? In a flash of light, or what? How did they just fade out?
In essence, by the time that they were completely engulfed in the amber-like substance, electricity sparking around them and kind of holding them in place, they just kind of vanish. Closest probably to a fading effect of some sort.
Sure, that's fine. Okay, so do we want to go down the hole?
Is there a stairwell leading down?
There's no discernible pathway or anything of the sort.
How far does it go down?
Nothing you can make. There's nothing you can make out.
And are there like walls on the side, or are we on?
Do I let my intrusive thoughts win and just jump?
Return to void.
I mean, I'm getting strong like Indiana Jones vibes, you know.
Yep.
Yes.
Only the penitent my pass, and I can't remember what the riddle for the second one was.
I'm an engineer. Do I have a small portable flashlight? I mean, it'd probably be something I carry.
I'd give it to you.
The second one was to spell the
Turn it
the
on
name
and-
of God.
Flash the light down there. See what we're looking at.
Yeah, your light does not seem to travel down too far.
Unnaturally so?
Unnaturally so. There's some reason the light is just not carrying the same way.
Is there anything
Pull out
like
my tricorder and scan it. Is there a field there, like it's generating some kind of field, as this is like fields we use in our ship to separate areas?
That's adorable. You still think tricorders can help you?
If I hold my hand over it, do I get like any artificial gravity? Is it like a gravity tube or something?
or like a temperature difference?
Like
or
an
anything?
elevator, gravity elevator?
It feels
something?
consistent with the ground that you were on. There's very little there. It is just not giving you much of a sensory input.
Yeah, and the hand passes through when I reach down below. It's not just like there's no force field or anything.
Yeah. Well, Nolson, for his part, is going to step over. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Romanov,
He's done with all the science
can you pass me your torch? Yeah, can you pass a torch?
You want my flashlight?
Yeah, your flashlight.
Okay, do I have a backup flashlight? I'll hand it to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna no, turn the flashlight on and drop it down the hole. See if we get A, light coming out from it, B, a sound of it hitting the ground.
It disappears the moment it crosses the threshold.
That's what I thought would happen.
No,
Okay,
like,
who wants to-
amber
who wants to
flash,
keep
no
going?
sound of it hitting something, even if we wait a few seconds.
None whatsoever.
I mean, didn't the Andorian just step over? Or just
No,
step over? Or just over
he's
here?
right at the... Nolsan has come to the edge, and he's just going to say... Well, the loss of your captain is unfortunate, but we have a job to do, and this presents itself as the only way down. As I see it, our interests must take us through here and to face whatever lies ahead.
I agree.
We don't have anywhere else to go.
Unless, of course,
I
these
step in.
dials
There you go,
activate
Zoral.
something else.
Zoral stepping in.
Yep, I'm stepping in.
I would have said everybody hold hands and we go on 3, but
Absolutely not.
Sloane's like, damn it, he beat me to it, and she's going to step in immediately after Soral.
Okay, I'll go.
Because I got tired of the science bullshit.
Yep.
Wait. So Zoral got bored of the science bullshit? Really?
There's a reason why most of the stuff I do blows up.
Yep. Nolsan. Yeah.
It's not because the science is bad. It's just...
Yep. As the crew is jumping in all sort of willy-nilly, Patel, Nolsan's going to be... What the... everyone, get down the hole, quick! And he orders his squad...
I'll be right back.
Yep.
And so ends the campaign. Well done, everyone.
Yep. You cross the you cross the event horizon into the singularity, and you all enjoy the rest of your existence as spaghetti.
I really like the idea of Patel being the very last one to go.
Yep. Fenn's like, ooh.
Well, at least the bird can fly.
This type of phenomena is most interesting. Well, quite an impulsive bunch we have here, don't we? Suppose I have to join them.
She doesn't even wait. She just jumps right in.
Yep.
Well, Doctor, it's You still have any more of those anxiety pills?
Yeah. You sure you want one now?
Better give me 2.
He'll toss the whole bottle at him. And then
I thought you were going to
jump
toss
down.
the bottle into the hole. Like,
No, not that mean.
All right, I'd take one of these tablets just like dry and gulp it down theatrically. All right, Kieran, here we go.
Yeah, save the rest for a special occasion.
And Lambeth, do you jump in with that one line?
Yeah, oh yeah.
You are left alone.
Kieran takes one final look at the the universe for what he can tell, and closes his eyes and just steps over. Doesn't jump. He just like takes a step and falls in.
As you all proceed through, Patel, as the last one to come through, you find that the moment you step down, there's maybe a momentary feel of free fall as you pass through the threshold, but it is interrupted quickly as you find your footing immediately on a different platform. Everyone is arrayed around you. On one end of the room, there appear to be 2 pillars, and likewise 2 seeming objects. Well, at the nearest end, Sloane has already made out that there appears to be, separated from the pillar, a rough triangular prism of sorts.
Are they 3-dimensional, or are
Yep.
they just like laid in the floor?
They are. It is laying out on the floor. I'll say, in narrative, I'll say, Sloane calls you over. think that they deconstructed these a little or something. She'll heft it up, and what it appears to be is, as I said, a triangular prism. So imagine like a two-dimensional triangle and then just extended completely back. It is not like a pyramid. It is something where it is the flat triangle sides on either end and then the long rectangles. Shira, just one moment before you get over there.
Okay.
Sorry. So, this one, near as I can tell, Sloane interjects, seems mostly smooth, although on one of the rectangular sides, like where the prism is at its longest, there appears to be some sort of circular pattern around it. What she's the size of the prism is, like, it is enough to fit under, like, one arm. If she were to, she can kind of adjust it to where, I'd say that it's the size of a large, like, lunchbox of a sort. Or something that would, or maybe like, jeez, I'm trying to find, like, an equivalent thing. It's at least maybe a foot and a half long. Or, that'd be, what would that be in, like, metric equivalent?
30, 40 centimeters.
Okay, about, we'll call it 40 centimeters long, then. Yeah, I don't know what to make of this here, but, seems that it's not attached to this panel here, or the pillar, as it was. I will say that the pillar does have a recessed portion of that equivalent where you could place in the triangle, or the prism.
And both prisms, so the blue one, and then, like, if I go over to the other one, it's identical, just a different color, right?
Yes. Before you walk, I'm actually going to say this as you are walking over now, and Shira, I imagine you were on your way. The moment that you start edging your way there, there's a semblance of something melting into place. The emergence of something almost metallic but teardrop-like, as a number of figures begin to rise, and one of them immediately moves into your path, Patel.
What do these look like? Sorry, they're like metallic teardrops that are coming from the floor or something?
They begin to take shape as something vaguely humanoid, and as you walk towards it, it seems to take a position, like, very much in front of you. It will keep kind of walking directly up to you, practically into your personal space, up until you back up to the center of the room, at which point it gives you the very slightest bit of distance.
Yeah, Patel's just walking slowly backwards
Yep.
when encounters them.
It will.
So maybe we need to move the other one first.
Or it could be reacting to us, specifically.
I mean, are they showing hostilities? Like, are we still talking, or
These things are not engaging in any sort of verbal speech. They all just appear to be standing in place. One of them has taken hold of their of the orangish red triangle.
and show strength by display yielding force of arms for only in strength, harmony, wisdom, and command our greatest machine. So
I'm not sure what exactly they would deal with in terms of force of arms here, but maybe we'll just... Here, I'll try to... She tries to place the prism into the slot on the pillar. It hovers directly over the pillar.
Is this interdimensional space basketball?
It's dodgeball,
And,
but with prisms.
and insert name of Vulcan physical recreational activity here. Is this like an actual conflict of arms, or is this a physical contest?
Where's the expectation that we attempt to trade ours for theirs? Because they're holding their prism, right? Or
They are holding their prism. They seem to have placed theirs also over the or into the slot. The prism appears to have the prism also appears to be hovering. It is as if a magnetic field has taken hold of the and is like keeping it from entering, much as with yours.
It's like a mirror. Almost.
Is it though?
Or do we each need the other one?
Could you pick yours up again?
Sloane will pick it up.
Does the guy with the orange one pick that one up too?
Yes.
Sloane, put yours down again.
She does, and it follows in kind.
Okay, so we need to work out a way. Perhaps if you pick up and come over here, you can trade the blue with the orange one, and maybe that'll work.
Well, anyone else got any thoughts? Because that's as good an idea as any as I can think.
Yeah, do I see any other connections between the way the figures are positioned in relationship to the technology? Is there anything that jumps out at me about that?
Does anything change if we change positions? So if Soral just goes closer here on the lower end, is there a response?
You would be met pretty much like as you approach it. If you try to cross over the line like to the midpoint of the room, the thing is just going to just walk like right into your personal space to where it is like chest to chest, nose to nose with you, meeting you with equal force, and like any attempted movement left or right is going to be perfectly mirrored, so it's at best you stay at a standstill.
Is it mirroring everything I do from the moment I started walking, or just when I got to the midpoint?
I'd say it made an effort to approach you before you got to the midpoint. So like if the gem had been on top of it, then like you would have been stopped effectively here.
Yeah. It's just let's just assume it's on the midpoint.
Yep.
If I raise my right hand, and just press forward, like going over the middle, does it mirror that as well? So that just like
it does.
What does it? Is there any response except touching? Like, was there any? Or what does it feel like?
It feels very cool, but something about it is like, despite the metallic texture, there is something of an organic feel to this. It's very uncanny. Like there's maybe the texture is more velvety than it would be, or than it is properly metallic, as it were.
Huh. Do they have any faces?
There are no facial features that you can discern. It is simply they have taken on the shape of something humanoid.
We respond to queries.
You are greeted with no verbal response.
And if I press, anyone feel free to interrupt me. Soralis is going through a whole process.
Mm-hmm.
If I just press forward, just like trying to force my way, is it only meeting with equal force, or does it get more violent or opposing at any point?
It will match you force for force.
seems the only thing they want to interact with is these prisms. So I think Eula has the right idea. And look back to Dr. Sloan.
I sincerely hope that you are right, Nolsan says. If we yield our advantage now, then it is a distinct possibility that we would potentially endanger ourselves, or at the very least prevent us from being able to proceed any further into the chamber. Could make your captain sacrifice all for naught.
I just see a stalemate. Come on, Sloan, let's see if we can make an exchange.
All right, she says, and she will maneuver with the object, carrying it over to the midpoint. One of them will carry over the other sphere, or other prism, that is to say. And just say, well, I guess, perhaps if we, I don't know, it's difficult because they're mirroring things. I guess if we set it down and if I try to hand it in such a way that, man, the GM did not fully figure out the logics of this puzzle.
Are they actually mirroring, or like if we approach it with? So the way I'm imagining it is like somebody approaches it with both of their hands sort of extended, palm up, and one of the palms, like the left one or whatever, is the prism. The right one is empty. Will they be truly mirroring, or will they be like countering that?
For ease of it, I'm going to say it is countering right now. Okay. Specifically holding the prisms. So the Sloane's right and the construct's right will hold the prisms.
So you should be able to just like put it in each other's hand, basically.
Yep. Okay. Sloane will attempt the handoff, and the construct will hand off in kind. So the blue is now with them, and the yellow-orange one is in your hands now.
Hey, let's put it on the pedestal.
Did they say like Alamarain or anything to us?
They say nothing, but they all skip around, or they hop on one foot away from it, and that some of them just start spinning and clapping.
Commander, if this opens up at the next level, you're technically standing on the spot where the next level might appear.
Patel looks down at his feet, and oh, of course, yeah.
I mean, it's where we want to go anyway.
I mean, yes, but I'm pretty sure the commander doesn't want to suddenly feel himself fall through the floor.
And that would give me quite the shock. You're definitely right on that one, Lieutenant. Good call.
Well, man, wouldn't it be funny if this time everything but that circle disappeared?
That would be interesting, yes.
I would quantify it more as horrifying, but to each their own. Let's see. So, Sloane will take it back and say, all right, here's hoping that everything stays in place, floor-wise, or at least what we want. Sloane will walk back over with the prism and place it into the slot. Whatever magnetic constriction prevented the blue one from entering the slot does not exist for this. It will slide in effortlessly, and as it does so on the opposite side as well, both sides glow blue and red. And once more, you see the floor before you give away in the center portion. Likewise, the constructs will all vanish from sight.
Oh, good.
We passed?
Yeah, I guess time to go through the next hole.
which for some reason isn't manifesting properly. I apologize for that.
Yeah, time to file on through.
Right. Let's see. So, unfortunately, there's some glitch with that, and I do not know what it is, but we will just imagine that that area has also gone blank. So, as people step through, Shira and Saral are the first ones to disappear. Well, actually, Sloan will say, now, there's just one small thing here that kind of bothers me.
Oh fuck! Say no.
Didn't we skip one of these?
How do you mean?
Did we?
Oh well.
I mean, I'm gone already.
Yeah.
We're gone. It doesn't matter. We're fucked.
Didn't we skip one?
Well, yeah, there was another part of this.
Yeah, skipped one of what?
The translation that we had. This sounds like it was drawn more from that third line of what we had, as opposed to the other. Well, this was about, I guess, yielding or force of arms. There wasn't really much in the way of healing, binding, or whatever the third one was.
Yeah, we did have the harmony, so that one checks out. But yeah, it seems you're right. We haven't been presented with a choice to mend, bind, or ensnare anything. I would assume that comes next.
I suppose so. All right.
Into the hole.
Well, only one way to find out. And, yeah. Sloan is going to also jump through, and, yeah, everyone makes their way towards the center of the room. Any parting thoughts as you leave this chamber?
Nope.
Certainly.
No passing thoughts.
Yep.
Many thoughts about acquiring any part of this technology that will be absolutely futile.
All right. Well,
I think this time Patel isn't the last one, but he goes together with the last one. So he's improving with
Well, it's
everyone.
probably you and me then. Let's go together.
Yeah, I do want to make sure that like the scientists and the Andorians go through before like the Last of Us do. So.
Oh, I look over, and you are one of my favorite first officers, if I've never said it to you.
He smiles very awkwardly and nervously and says, "Have you known many first officers?"
I have.
That's what we call a death flag.
And don't worry, he's now captain.
We'll find her. I don't believe she's dead. The energy didn't consume her. I think it moved her.
She's ascended to another plane of existence.
why is there a koala? Why
Took the words right out of my mouth.
She got cast.
The better question is, why is there a chinchilla? And how many holes has it chewed into the plot?
As long as she didn't Tasha Yard, I think we're probably pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
Oh, God.
Patel, we'll say Lambeth and Romanov also go through at the same time, and the moment that you do make it through, on whatever warm, hopeful note you came in, as once again the ground becomes familiar to you. You all have that brief sense of free fall. As you kind of come to in the room, you see that all the Andorians have pulled out various particle weapons. Shira, is yours also drawn as well?
Yeah, probably on instinct.
Yep. Shira, you become aware that others are in the room around you now, or that the rest have come through?
Are they pointing the particle weapons at us or at something else?
Oh,
No.
something else.
Yep. For Patel, as you enter into the room,
Slightly concerned that Soral is not on the map.
no,
Well,
Soral,
your
your
character
hands
it
are
is.
probably up because sitting at the other end of the room before you with the last pedestal and with a triangular prism tucked under his shoulder and a particle rifle held in his still one good arm, those of you that were on the planet notice that Commander Selmar has somehow come to join you.
Oh, lovely.
I would be very interested in the chronologically of events that have led to this situation.
I see. Your human crew has made it here with Andorian allies. I believe, Commander, that we have need to talk. And at this point, we are at about the 10 minutes to the hour, so I will ask, do people feel like they can go longer to possibly finish the plot, or would you prefer to set this aside? I would say, well, actually, I think that I might have to call this here just because I don't know how much longer I can go here, guys.
Okay, that's fine.
So,
That's fair.
It's a good point to stop if we're going to stop.
yep. So I think we'll cut off here with the Vulcan Commander Selmar positioned with the last bit of the puzzle ahead of you, and with particle weapons drawn all manner of directions. We will leave you off for this session. So for those in the recording, thank you for joining us today. We hope that you enjoyed today's game, and we will catch you next week. See you around.